Welcome to Green Living. Our garden is one of the most relaxing places that we can come to. That's why I like to make sure that my plants are as healthy as possible. Now, you've probably heard of many different ways to keep your plants healthy and happy, but the truth is, it really all begins with the quality of your soil. Your garden soil is possibly one of the factors that gets overlooked when you plant for your garden. This may not come as a surprise, but plants get almost all their nutrition from the soil. The healthier your soil is, the happier your plants will be. A typical healthy soil sample should contain roughly 45% minerals, 25% water, 25% air, and roughly 5% organic matter, such as decayed plants, insects, and animal matter. This means that healthy soil is generally loose and not compacted. Moreover, soil comes in many different colors and shades, and this is determined by the abundance of certain minerals in it. The basic types are sandy, silty, clay, peaty, and saline soil. But the best kind is a mix of sandy, silty, and clay with a healthy dose of humus. That's matter from decayed organic material. And that's known as loamy soil. Now, depending on the type of plant that you want to grow, you're probably going to have to determine the type of soil that you need for it. We're going to get under the soil of your garden in just a little bit, but first off, let's check out a building that's been built green from the ground up. I'm Paolo Abrera, and this is Green Living. Welcome back to Green Living. I think we can all agree that one of the best ways to enjoy your garden is to be the one that grows the plants in it yourself. Now, before we can enjoy our self-maintained garden, well, we got to start from the ground. Now, you should know that there are about 16 different elements necessary for plant growth, but among them there are 3 that are considered primary macronutrients. That's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Now, these 3 are responsible for plant growth, and the balance between them determines which plants will thrive in your garden. Nitrogen, for instance, makes your soil more acidic. This means that plants will grow more lush and thick, but will have fewer fruits and flowers. Some exceptions are rhododendrons and camellias, which like slightly acidic soil. This type of soil also promotes weed growth. Phosphorus and potassium, on the other hand, make your soil more suitable for fruit and flower-bearing plants. That's why most fertilizers available on the market can be found with ratios for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Now, these composts and fertilizers are available for purchase at your local plant shop or hardware store. Now, like I said earlier, your soil is either alkaline or acidic. This is a measure of pH, just like in water. Anything that measures between 0 and 6.5 is considered acidic, and anything that measures above 7 is considered alkaline. And this will determine which plants are going to love your garden. Alkaline soil makes it easier for plants like herbs and vegetables to grow, and with more fruits and flowers. To make your soil more alkaline, you can add wood ash or purchase a bag of pulverized limestone and sprinkle it on your soil. But just like anything else, preparing your soil for planting takes a lot of time and effort. So I suggest that you get your pH levels tested way before you actually start to intend planting. Coming up, we'll get a slice of the garden life as we go through the how-tos of preparing your soil for gardening. But first, let's head off to Senator Pia Cayetano's Healthy Slice Cafe. It's best to keep our garden teeming with plants that help keep us relaxed. And one of the best ways to make sure that your plants are healthy is to make sure that the soil that they take their nutrition from is top-notch. Now, the best time to work your soil is definitely not on the eve of when you want to start planting your seedlings in there. You want to start to prepare your soil up to half a year before you start planting. And the best time to start planting is right before summer starts. So let's work back from there. To start, you'll have to look for spots in your garden with poor drainage. Likewise, also note which part of your garden take in water the best. Simply pour water in spots on your garden and see which places drain water the fastest. Soil with good drainage can drain water from a puddle in about 10 minutes. Anything slower than that could mean that your soil is too compacted to allow water to flow through easily. If this is the case, then you may need to consider to break up the soil. You can use hand rakes and trowels and gently break up and turn over the soil. Make sure that you break up soil as deep as at least 8 to 12 inches to make sure that roots can penetrate the soil. Also, keep your eye on the lookout for signs of life such as earthworms and insects. This indicates that your soil is healthy. Now, the next thing to do is to take a look around your garden and see what kind of plants are thriving. If what you see is mostly grass and weeds, then that probably means that your soil is acidic. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing because there's quite a few plants that can live with that. The best thing, though, is to get your soil tested. That'll give you a more definite picture of what kind of fertilizer you need to use. After determining your soil's needs, it's time to check on your plant's needs as well. Make sure that the spots you pick for your plants receive at least 6 hours of sunlight a day. Mark off your spots with ropes or build trenches around it. That way, you can avoid stepping on it. Next is to make sure that your plants get all the nutrients that they need, and that means to check for any errant vegetation like wild grass or weeds, which might compete with your plants for nutrients. You can simply use hand rakes to uproot the grass and weeds, and instead of sweeping them away, turn them over and bury them. It'll serve as additional compost for your soil. Ooh, look at our little friend over here. Ooh, that's a good sign, isn't it? Now you can continue to do this every time you see wild grass or weeds grow. That way, you can continue to build the health of your soil while waiting for the right time to plant. Keep doing this periodically and you're sure to have a garden teeming with your favorite plants. Just make sure that you don't compact your soil by accidentally stepping on it, especially after you've planted all those herbs and ornamental plants. It's a surefire way to enjoy your garden even more. Well, that was a whole afternoon of gardening. For more tips and behind-the-scenes notes, you can log on to www.greenliving-tv.com or follow us on Twitter and like our Facebook page. I'll see you guys next week right here on Green Living.